A pilot who appeared on a popular national TV show died. A helicopter went down in Lynn County. The chopper crash. Breaking news last night right here on the 5 o'clock news.
Logging is one of the most dangerous jobs on Earth. A raw reality that History Channel's Axemen brought straight into our living rooms. For 9 seasons, we watched brave crews risk everything in the rugged wilderness, battling brutal terrain and heavy machinery. But the dangers of this extreme lifestyle weren't just on TV. Several of the show's most iconic and beloved personalities have passed away since filming began, leaving a deep void in the logging community and the hearts of fans worldwide. So what beloved Axemen members have we lost? Join us as we count down the tragic stories of the fearless loggers who took ultimate risks. Jimmy Frank Smith. Logging might be a wild ride, but nothing prepared fans for the heartbreaking curveball that hit the Axemen family early on. Before the cameras could even finish capturing the raw grit of the wilderness, an unexpected dark cloud settled over the show. One of its biggest stars began a silent, devastating battle behind the scenes. A personal war that would completely change the face of the series and leave fans bracing for the worst. That devastating blow came in the form of a long, brutal battle with cancer that ended up taking the life of Jimmy Frank Smith on November 1st, 2012. He was officially the first recorded cast member from the series to pass away, and the news completely shattered the fandom. By the time the premiere episode of Season 6 rolled around, viewers knew something was terribly wrong because Jimmy didn't look like himself at all. The once robust woodsman had suddenly lost at least 50 pounds, and his dark, graying hair had turned completely white, forcing the show to quickly reveal the heartbreaking truth about his ongoing medical fight. Long before he became a household name fighting for his health on television, Jimmy was just a regular guy with a massive passion for the great outdoors. He enlisted in the United States Army to serve his country, and after being discharged, he headed straight back to North Bend, where he married the love of his life, Sandra Jackson. He eventually moved around, attending Big Bend Community College and working as a skilled carpenter in Clay Elam, Washington. But his true calling came later in life when he teamed up with his son, James L. Smith, to launch a wild business venture called S&S Aqua Logging. This unique father-son operation quickly caught the attention of TV producers, and Jimmy spent 5 thrilling seasons showing the world exactly what it took to survive in their highly specialized corner of the logging world. On camera, Jimmy and James went through absolute thick and thin as they dove into murky waters to recover incredibly valuable, preserved old-growth logs from riverbeds. They spent years battling alligators, venomous snakes, fierce business competition, and, naturally, each other, which only made Jimmy prouder of the fact that their rugged daily lives were featured on the hit History Channel series. Through all the wild drama and family arguments, Jimmy never lost his deep love for the simple things in life, like hunting, fishing, his beloved dogs, and the thrill of the logging grind. He was a true, old-school outdoorsman who always kept himself prepared for whatever the future might hold, which made his sudden departure hurt that much more for the people who knew him best. When he finally passed away in Wenatchee, Washington, it felt like the end of an era for a show built on raw, unfiltered masculinity and untamed survival. The loss hit so deeply that the History Channel released an emotional statement honoring their fallen friend, calling him a truly one-of-a-kind character whom America absolutely needed to experience. They extended their deepest thoughts and prayers to his son James and the rest of the grieving family, acknowledging the massive void his absence would leave behind. On November 17, 2012, a sea of family, friends, and emotional logging colleagues gathered together in Leavenworth, Washington, to attend his memorial, raising a glass to a fearless man who lived life entirely on his own terms. But the loss of Jimmy Smith was just the beginning of a dark cloud that would soon hang over the Axemen family. Just a year later, the show would be hit by another devastating tragedy, this time high above the tree line. Keep watching to see how a routine flight for a beloved veteran pilot turned into a sudden mid-air nightmare that shook the entire logging world. William Bart Colantuono. Working on the ground in the logging business is dangerous enough, but taking the job into the sky brings a whole new level of risk. Fans watching Axemen were always amazed by the crazy stunts and skills needed to lift massive timber from above. But nobody realized just how fast things could turn deadly in the clouds. One day, you are flying high above the trees, and the next day, a sudden mechanical glitch can bring everything crashing down in a split second. That nightmare became all too real on September 17, 2013, when 54-year-old William Bart Colantuono met a tragic end. The beloved star was piloting his helicopter in an Oregon forest when something went horribly wrong. He was doing his usual routine job, hauling giant logs out of the dense woods for a company called R&R Logging. The crash happened in Lynn County near the town of Detroit, and emergency workers pronounced the veteran pilot dead right at the chaotic scene. Before he ever brought his talents to reality TV, Bart spent years sharpening his skills in the most intense environments possible as an experienced Navy pilot. He knew aircraft inside and out, which is exactly why he became the star of seasons 2 and 3. Fans absolutely loved watching him show off his top-notch heli-logging skills, maneuvering giant pieces of wood through tight spaces where regular trucks could never go, making the impossible look totally easy. But even the best training cannot save a pilot when a machine completely fails in midair. Witnesses who saw the terrible accident unfold told police that they saw Bart release his heavy payload of logs shortly before the impact. This quick thinking showed that he knew there was a major problem and tried his best to lighten the load to save the helicopter. Sadly, onlookers also saw the main rotor completely separate from the aircraft before the whole machine flipped upside down and smashed into the forest floor. The authorities were left scratching their heads and were not exactly sure what triggered the mechanical failure in the first place. The sudden loss left the entire logging community in deep mourning for a man who took the ultimate risks every single day. Bart will always be remembered as a true sky cowboy who lived with bravery, died doing what he loved, and kept his cool even in his very final moments. Gabe Rygard. Conquering the rugged woods of the Pacific Northwest takes an absolute powerhouse of a leader, and fans thought the toughest stars on reality TV were totally invincible. Day after day, these rugged men faced down falling trees and snapping cables without blinking an eye. It seems like nothing on Earth could ever slow them down, but sometimes the most familiar roads close to home hold dangers that nobody ever sees coming. That shocking reality struck the logging community like a lightning bolt in September 2016, when Gabe Rygard was killed in a massive car crash. He was just 45 years old. The terrible accident happened right near his hometown of Port Angeles, Washington, on U.S. Highway 101. Gabe was driving his white Ford Bronco when he accidentally rear-ended another vehicle, sending his truck spinning directly into the path of an oncoming ride, though luckily, the people in the other cars only had minor injuries. This sudden tragedy made Gabe the third major member of the beloved cast to pass away, leaving everyone completely numb. He first showed up in Season 2 after taking over the family business, Rygard Logging Inc., which his father originally started back in 1992. Gabe quickly became the star of the show, leading his crew through the recently completed 9th season with the kind of loud, proud passion that made him a legend. Following the devastating news, Gabe's father spoke out to confirm the wreck, mourning the loss of a devoted father of 3. To keep his memory alive, the grieving family decided to keep the engines running and continue operating Rygard Logging Inc. to honor his incredible legacy. But Gabe Rygard wouldn't be the only cast member whose sudden absence left fans desperately searching for answers. In this tight-knit community, some losses are followed by public mourning, while others are shrouded in complete mystery. Stacy Robson. In the chaotic days following his passing, wild rumors and theories started swirling everywhere through the tight-knit logging community. Some people online claimed that Stacy had died in a horrific regular logging accident on the job, while others guessed that he had suffered a sudden, fatal heart attack. To make things even more confusing for worried fans, it was almost impossible to find an official obituary, and a GoFundMe page set up for his grieving family kept the specific details completely under wraps. The internet fundraiser was organized by his sibling, Jelena Robison, who poured her heart out to raise urgent money for the funeral expenses. She wrote that her brother Stacy was truly a one-of-a-kind guy who left behind a loving wife named Angela and 3 beautiful children. Since Stacy was the primary source of income for the household, the family suddenly found themselves in a terrible financial spot, with Angela facing the harsh reality of becoming the sole supporter for the kids overnight. The devastating news hit his Axemen co-workers incredibly hard, casting a massive, somber shadow over the entire logging site. His boss, Mike, confessed to the cameras that he heard the tragic update directly from Angela during a deeply emotional phone call that left him completely speechless. Out of pure respect for his fallen friend, Mike even painted Stacy's name directly onto the side of the massive yarder machine, admitting it was incredibly tough to even look at the equipment without getting choked up. The loss serves as a brutal reminder of just how tightly connected these woodsmen really are when tragedy strikes the camp. His co-star Danny explained to the cameras that when a logger goes down, the entire community feels the pain because everyone understands the extreme risks of the lifestyle. Stacy truly had logging pumping through his veins, and his grieving friends will always remember him as part of that special, rare breed of men you expect to live forever. Dwayne Dethlefs. The rugged woods have a special way of carving out some of the biggest, most unforgettable characters you will ever meet in your life. These old-school woodsmen look like they can survive any storm, outwork anyone half their age, and keep the whole crew laughing with a quick, sharp joke. You get so used to hearing their booming voices echoing through the trees that you never expect the day when the forest suddenly goes completely quiet. That heavy silence came on December 6, 2019, when Dwayne Dethlefs passed away peacefully at his home in Hillsboro, Oregon. He was 60 years old. While his official obituary did not reveal the exact cause of his death to the public, most fans and locals close to the family believe he simply died of natural causes. The sudden loss deeply saddened the reality TV community, especially those who remembered his great run on Axemen after he joined the tough crew back in 2009. Long before the television cameras started rolling, Dwayne was a true, pure outdoorsman who lived and breathed the wild Pacific Northwest lifestyle. He was a professional logger, a passionate hunter, and an avid fisher who knew the Oregon wilderness like the back of his hand. Even though he only appeared in 6 episodes of the hit show, his legendary work ethic, dedicated attitude, and hilarious dry sense of humor made him an instant favorite among die-hard viewers. The heavy-hearted crew at Mike Pihl Logging broke the sad news to the world with an emotional statement, calling him one of the grumpiest yet funniest men to ever swing an axe. They joined fans everywhere in wishing him a peaceful rest, hoping the timber he is cutting in the sky is massive and his drinks are always strong. But Dwayne wasn't the only star from the Pihl logging crew to make headlines outside of the forest. That same year, his famous boss found himself in the middle of a terrifying legal nightmare. After a single reckless decision, behind the wheel went horribly wrong. Stick around to see how a shocking accident at home nearly cost this rugged logging legend his entire family. Mike Pihl. Sometimes the biggest dangers for these rugged woodsmen do not happen deep in the forest, but right in their own front yard. Axemen boss. Mike Pihl learned this the hard way back in 2009 when a reckless mistake nearly cost him his entire family. The famous Oregon logger was arrested after a terrifying vehicle accident where he completely rolled his Jeep with his 3 young children sitting inside. The scary crash happened right in his very own driveway when Mike accidentally steered the Jeep straight into a deep ditch. The vehicle flipped over 3 times in a row. To make matters worse, none of the small kids were strapped into seats. Luckily, all 3 children, who were age 5 and under, somehow escaped the horrific rolling wreck with only minor physical injuries. When the local police arrived at the chaotic scene, they quickly realized that alcohol was a major factor in the wreck. Mike actually managed to avoid a regular DUI charge because the crazy crash happened entirely on private property instead of a public road. However, the authorities did not let him off easy. They hit him with a serious felony assault charge alongside 3 counts of recklessly endangering another person. Jesse Browning. Fans of Axemen watched Jesse Browning and his brother Jay take huge risks in the forests for the Browning logging crew. But a dark shadow hit Jesse's home life that no one ever saw coming. In 2010, a terrible tragedy struck Jesse and his wife Detta at their Oregon home. Their 4-year-old daughter Ashlyn was playing in the front yard when she was suddenly mauled to death by one of the family's 2 Rottweilers. The horrific attack happened in a matter of minutes and left the entire family completely devastated. Following the heartbreaking incident, the dog was immediately euthanized by officials. In a bizarre twist, that was not the first time the family had trouble with their pets. Just 4 months before that fatal day, one of the family's other Rottweilers had actually attacked another family member. That dog was also put down right after the incident, making the final tragedy even harder to bear for the tight-knit family. Years later, in 2016, shocking word spread across the internet that Jesse Browning had died in a violent car accident out in Montana. Fans panicked over the news, but it turned out to be completely false. The entire story was just an internet hoax, and the Browning brothers are still alive, well and hard at work in the forests today, as fans can easily see on their active Facebook page. Gunter. The wild swamp loggers on the show love to play by their own set of rules, completely ignoring the official law books when they are hunting for treasures hidden deep in the backcountry. While they are expert divers who can pull massive logs out of the muck, some crew members have a real knack for getting into trouble when they step away from the timber. For one colorful star, his wildest adventures happened long before reality TV crews ever started filming his daily routine. That sneaky rule breaker is master diver Gunter, who worked for the famous Chapman logging crew on the series. Long before he found television fame on Axemen, Roger was already locally notorious in the state of Florida for his highly illegal poaching hobbies. He frequently got caught hunting wild animals without a proper state license, proving that his wild streak ran deep long before he ever signed up for a reality show. Besides hunting on land, Roger was also legendary for a bizarre Florida practice called monkey fishing. Despite the funny name, he was not actually angling for real monkeys in the jungle trees, like some confused internet writers mistakenly claimed. Instead, monkey fishing is a local slang term for illegally catching river fish by using strong bursts of electricity to shock them straight to the surface. Looking back on what he happily calls the good old days, Roger proudly admits that he was only busted by game wardens 6 times over a massive 30 to 40-year run of shocking fish. He feels that a handful of tickets over a few decades is a pretty solid track record for a lifelong outlaw. Fortunately for the local wildlife and the television network, the veteran swamp diver has apparently mended his reckless ways since hitting the big screen. But Roger wasn't the only swamp logger who treated the local rules like mere suggestions. Another major fan favorite took that reckless attitude straight onto a neighbor's property, turning a regular logging job into a massive criminal investigation. Shelby Stanga, living out in the remote wild, can make a reality star think they own every single thing in sight, especially when they are used to taking whatever they want from nature. For the most eccentric characters on television, the line between public property and a neighbor's yard can get incredibly blurry when there is valuable wood waiting to be cut. But even the king of the swamp eventually learns that the local police have strict limits when it comes to backyard trespassing. That lesson came down hard on Shelby "Swampman" Stanga in October 2014 when the police picked him up on a surprise arrest warrant. The breakout Axemen star found himself in legal trouble for illegally cutting down a massive cypress tree that belonged entirely to his next-door neighbor. While chopping down a single piece of timber might not sound like a huge deal to an everyday logger, the local authorities treated the incident as a serious case of grand theft and destruction of private property. The most bizarre part about the whole legal mess was the crazy timeline of the crime itself. The actual tree-cutting incident took place 3 years before the police finally came knocking on his door to put him in handcuffs. Because of that massive multi-year gap between the logging and the arrest, there was absolutely no official word on whether Shelby was under the influence of anything when he chopped down the wood. Apparently, the deep Louisiana bayou has some incredibly serious property laws protecting its trees, and not even the famous swamp man could dodge the long arm of the law forever. Adrienne Priest. The brutal world of mountain logging is almost entirely dominated by gruff men, making it incredibly rare to see anyone break the mold in the deep woods. Fans of the show are totally used to seeing the same old-school faces tackling the trees, so nobody expected a fresh perspective to shake up one of the most stubborn crews in the business. But when a truly tough woman stepped onto the rugged terrain, she instantly proved she could outwork the guys and handle the heaviest pressure imaginable. That breakout star was Adrienne Priest, who made a massive splash working on Alaska's remote Kuprine of Island with Papak Logging Inc. Her close friend, Mike Papak, initially brought her into the rugged crew specifically to help work a legendary site that everyone else considered completely unloggable. Adrienne proved she was not at all afraid to get dirty, working hard from 2013 until 2015, and even earning a big promotion to run the complicated yarder machine for the first time ever in Season 9. When the network temporarily canceled the series in 2016, the logging crews scattered, and the network eventually took nearly 3 years to finally reboot the show. Unfortunately for her many fans, it looks like Adrienne will not be returning to the forest for Season 10. She completely traded in her heavy logging boots for the fashion world, currently working hard as the busy co-CEO for an eco-friendly clothing company called Jack's Hats. The unique family business was originally started by Adrienne's mother, Jackie, back in 2007 to turn recycled ugly sweaters into fashionable winter gear to keep materials out of local landfills. Aside from saving the environment with hats, Adrienne also ran an Etsy shop making custom bikinis for bodybuilder competitions. She stays incredibly active online today, sharing gorgeous modeling shots on her second Instagram page and celebrating her love life with her supportive family after coming out in a sweet public message dedicated to her beautiful girlfriend. What name on the list shocked you the most? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen, and you will enjoy it.